Colin and I have been at the top of our grade for more than a decade, until the college entrance examination. I lost to him by 1 point. Looking at the list of honor rolls, I gritted my teeth a little. Colin, why are you above me? His eyebrows moved slightly, and he smiled meaningfully. Later, he put his arms around my waist and his voice was stiff between his movements. This time, you're on top. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. On the day of filling in the volunteers, the rain that had been falling for half a month finally stopped. The sun is just right. When I went downstairs, Colin was lying on the couch playing a game. Brandon, do you know that I've been waiting for you for an hour? The tone was quite resentful. I looked down and stuffed my phone into my small bag, and said, you came here early in the morning. I finally slipped my phone in, and I didn't hear any movement for a long time. And I looked up, and Colin was looking over half up. Gamepads have long been left behind. His eyes were a little dumbfounded. I walked up to him and waved my hand. What's the fuss? Let's go. Ahem. He withdrew his gaze, stood up from the couch, and switched back to his previous nonchalance for a second. It's strange that you can wear a dress. I sat down to change my shoes and said speechlessly, otherwise, do you still wear your school uniform after you graduate? Don't say it. I really think. I smiled at him fakely. Then don't worry, even if you wear a skirt, it will definitely not affect me from beating you. After changing my shoes, I pushed him away and opened the door to walk out. Tisk, you're really not a lady. He quickly followed. I glanced at him. What, do you like ladylike? Almost reflexively, Colin replied, of course, I don't like you. Talk as you speak. What are you doing so loudly all of a sudden? I looked at him inexplicably, but quickly nodded in understanding. It's good. I just don't like you either. Childhood sweethearts, what kind of couples, are all enemies? As a result, Colin was not happy again, and his brow was twisted so that he almost caught a fly. No, Branda, you're disgusted with me. I reached out and patted the non-existent ash on his shoulder and replied politely, what's the matter? We're obviously dislike each other. After saying that, he turned around and got into the car and closed the door with him. Colin grumbled into the co-pilot. Jack has long been accustomed to it, and greets him with a smile. Branda is early. Xinglan is early. Colin snorted twice. I just ignored him and said, Jack, morning. Please send us straight to school. The co-pilot spoke again. I'm going to have breakfast first. You didn't have breakfast. What are you doing sitting at my house at 8 o'clock in the morning? Colin, you have to take care of it. The tone was so natural that one almost thought he was going back to his own home. Jack looked back at me. I closed my eyes and fell backwards. Go to Luke intestinal noodles. After getting out of the car, Colin was inexplicably better again, and took the initiative to serve 2 bowls of rice wine dumplings. Just as the boss brought 2 bowls of intestine noodles to the table, I shouted Colin. He put the spoon on me. What, then? A spoonful of green onions was added to his bowl so delicately. Colin's posterior molars were almost crushed. Branda, I don't eat shallots. I slowly added another spoonful to myself. I know, I did it on purpose. Hee, you, wait for me. Then, he began to pick onions with an unhappy face. I was in such a good mood that I even took a photo as a souvenir. By the time the eldest young master finished picking green onions, eating breakfast, and drinking rice wine, he arrived at school at almost 11 o'clock, as soon as we walked to the playground. We were caught by the head teacher. 2 ancestors. Why did you come? Colin acted like a good student. I'm sorry, teacher, there's a traffic jam on the road. I looked at him calmly. The teacher didn't bother to settle accounts with the 2 of us, so he grabbed one by one and went to the principal's office. The admissions team teachers of several schools are waiting for you. You must fill in my volunteer. Colin, don't worry, we promise you the year-end bonus. The teacher was annoyed by him. You kid, you talk nonsense every day. Then he looked back at me and said, not as sensible as us, Branda, at all. My eyes flashed, and I was extremely well behaved. Teacher, don't worry, we will fill it in well, and please help worry about it. Colin gave a look in the air. I'll just watch you pretend. I raised an eyebrow and gave a look in return. Each other. But our intentions have been determined a long time ago. Of course, I went to the best university in the country. If you count from the time we were at the same table in kindergarten, Colin and I have been classmates for 13 years. In other words, 13 years of vicious competition. He takes the little red flower, and I will take the good baby. He won the competition, and I was the first in my grade. He got a perfect score in math, and my essay was a model. In short, in our world, everyone else can be the first, but not each other. It was so fierce to grab the first place for more than 10 years. Until the college entrance examination, I looked at the list of honor rolls, and I still gritted my teeth. Colin, why are you above me? The head teacher smiled kindly beside him. You did so well in the exam this year, and the school worked overtime to do it. He also pointed, it's okay, you're only 1 point away. I'm sick of that. From the moment I knew the results, I began to reflect on why I had to change that multiple choice answer in the last 5 minutes. Gassy. Why do you want to do the list vertically? I strongly recommend ranking horizontally. After listening to my words, the head teacher also observed it carefully, and agreed, it seems that the layout is not very good. So I will mention it to the principal another day. Hurry up, let's go, don't waste time. Next to him, Colin's eyebrows moved slightly, and he smiled meaningfully. I really can't get used to seeing men's appearance, so I stepped on him openly. Then he said unapologetically, I'm sorry I didn't see it. After filling out the volunteer at the teacher's office, Colin went to the self-service machine to buy 2 bottles of water and threw one at me. It's hot, let's go home. I was also so thirsty that I finished drinking the water and put the ice water bottle directly on my face. You go back first, I still have business. Colin, who was walking well ahead, suddenly stopped and looked back at me. What can you do? I lazily replied. Damien looking for me. What is he looking for you? Say it's a book return. Colin asked again. When did you borrow his book? I looked up at him. Why are you asking so much? Aren't you quite unkind to see people? The last time I played, I also buckled someone's hat. Colin turned around and stood face to face with me crossed. Branda, I'm kind enough to remind you that making friends and having a little heart, then Damien is not a good thing at first glance. As for what happened on the court, it was his own dish, so blame me. Feeling the temperature on my face have cooled, I withdrew my hand and glanced at him. You're embarrassed to say that people aren't good things. Colin raised his eyebrows, and at first glance it was about to speak at length. I immediately stopped his spell casting. On the day I received the book before the college entrance examination, he saw that I had White Night walking in my drawer and borrowed it. Sent me a message last night saying that I would return to school today. I don't explain the reason for this, but with Colin's character, he can always rub in with me. After finishing speaking, I spread my hands. I'm done, I'll go. Colin suddenly jumped upwards and made a shooting gesture in the air, and the water bottle in his hand fell into the trash can with a clang. He walked up to me in 2 steps. Let's go. Brother will barely accompany you. Why are you going? He asked me with a straight face. I can't go. You two have to take a book, and you have to do it privately. Not really. It's just that he said he invited me to dinner to show his gratitude. Colin's tone immediately changed. Still eating? Yes. I refused at first. As a result, he insisted on saying that it was a graduation dinner, and we would be classmates for 2 years, and it would be difficult to meet in the future, so I couldn't find a reason to refuse, so I agreed. Colin took the floral umbrella in my hand. The graduation dinner should indeed be. I'm also in this class, and I'm going to get together with Damien. As soon as he arrived at the restaurant, Damien greeted him from afar. Branda, here. I really didn't expect to be able to have a meal with you alone before graduation. Thank you for being willing to come. Before I could respond, a round head popped out from behind me. Hello, Damien, come and have a meal, don't you mind? Damien didn't react for a moment. I smiled awkwardly but politely. Colin and I came to the school to fill out the volunteers. Do you mind having one more person? Damien smiled, put away his stunnedness, and said generously, it's okay. Let's go together. After eating, on the way home, Colin closed his eyes and pretended to sleep, looking like he didn't want to speak. After getting out of the car, he turned around and went to his house. I almost put the word unhappy on my face. I stopped him. Colin, he stood still, but didn't look back, his tone stiff. What are you doing? I asked. What are you upset about? What can I be upset about? I thought for a moment, because I promised Damien to go to the show. I thought Colin's presence would be a little awkward at that meal, but Damien was polite and chatty, especially when he mentioned that an artist was coming to the exhibition recently. That's the artist I've loved for a long time. This opened the conversation. After chatting for a while, Damien said that there were just 2 tickets and invited me to go to the exhibition next Monday. My eyes lit up. Can we really be together? I didn't even grab it, of course. I'm worried that I can't find anyone with the extra one, Damien said sincerely. With that, he turned to him again and asked, is Colin interested? I can try to figure out another way to see if I can get a ticket, but it's not guaranteed. I just noticed that Colin had been silent for a long time. I remembered asking him to help me grab tickets together, but he looked at the poster and the introduction of the exhibition, and he didn't understand. What is this painting? So of course he refused. Don't bother, he doesn't like to watch that. Colin glanced at Damien and then on my face, his tone becoming masculine. Yes, I don't like to watch that. I won't disturb the two of you in a casual and elegant way. Colin didn't speak again until he finished eating. I'm used to solving problems on the spot. If you have something to say, just ask. Colin finally turned around. That's what you want to go to that show? I nodded, yes. Why else I'd pull you to grab the ticket. Then I'll find a scalper to collect, and don't go with Damien. Do you know about the fact that scalpers have been sold for $3,000? Colin, I can think of other ways, as long as you don't go with him. I looked at him and tried to communicate. I know you don't like Damien, but I'm just going to see a solo show. Besides, I think others are okay. As for today's dinner, you suddenly want to go, and people don't say anything generously. And they take the initiative to ask you about your taboos when you order. It's you yourself who are inexplicably hostile to others. Colin, be reasonable. Colin's face suddenly turned worse, and he gritted his teeth and said, I'm not being reasonable. Okay, you go with whomever you like. Then he went away in a rage. This temper is simply inexplicable. I also asked Jack behind me. Jack, what's he angry about? I'm just going to see a solo exhibition with my classmates. Is he going to do it? Without waiting for Jack to answer, I sighed again. Forget it, don't care about him. He'll be fine in a few days anyway. As soon as I got home, I received a call from my aunt. Do you have any arrangements for this week, baby? I just finished work and was going to the island for a vacation. And I heard your mother say that you just finished filling out the volunteers. Do you want to go play with your aunt? I've already talked to your parents. I snorted and immediately agreed, yes. My aunt is a drama actress, beautiful, unmarried, and open-minded. When my parents were busy with work, my aunt took the time to hold a parent-teacher conference for me. I've been sticking to her since I was a child. Okay, then you pack your things first, and I'll pick you up tonight. I was stunned. In such a hurry. The Seaview Hotel is booked, and it will only be 2 hours in the past, and you can go to have a seaside barbecue in the evening, without saying a word. I went to pack my bags. At 8 o'clock in the evening, I hurriedly pushed my suitcase out of the house, and the person next to my aunt immediately stepped forward to take the suitcase. I looked at it. TSK, new cars, new faces. My aunt came over and put her arms around me. Let's go vacation. I coughed softly and whispered in her ear, Auntie, did you change another one? Auntie breezed. Yes. The other party heard the voice, put the suitcase away, looked up at me and smiled politely. Branda, hello. I often hear your aunt mention you. I nodded and smiled. Hello, uncle. Then silently gave her a thumbs up. It has to be my pretty aunt. Marriage is not married, love is non-stop, and the object is still fluid. After eating barbecue in the evening breeze, my aunt pulled me to start shopping again. And let me try anything beautiful, and bought 4 or 5 sundresses in one go. That's enough, Auntie. I don't feel like I can wear that much. My aunt picked up another necklace and compared it to me. This one is also quite compatible. Bring it with you. When you graduate, you should dress up well at the age of 18, and the little girl should wear more beautiful dresses and jewelry. I grabbed her arm and rubbed it. Thank you, Aunt. She suddenly remembered something. Hey. Where's your childhood sweetheart? Didn't you have to report to him when I took you out before? What's the report? It's obvious that he keeps pestering me to ask. Speaking of that person, I got angry and told me about the day's events. I don't know which of his nerves is not right, so I agreed to go to the solo exhibition with my classmates, and I kindly explained to him, but he still rushed away in a rage. After listening to this, my aunt patted the back of my hand with a look of seeing through it. Colin's question, he didn't have a long mouth, so he gave it to him. I disagree, he hasn't had a long mouth yet. When he spoke, he almost died. Auntie laughed. Branda was right. I played with my aunt for 5 days, and before leaving, I went to the famous cultural and creative street alone, bought beautiful postcards and souvenirs. When I walked to the last shop, I was fascinated by a telescope keychain displayed in the window. Almost instantly, Colin loves astronomy, and in his bedroom, in addition to study materials, The rest is full of astronomical posters and models. This man has a big temper. And he hasn't really sent me a message since that night, just this kind of person. What kind of gifts do you bring him? I forced myself to withdraw my gaze, but as soon as I took 2 steps, I remembered how he looked like he was waiting for me to go to school every day. Forget it, what's the matter with a dog like him? I bought it anyway. After arriving home, the aunt leaned on the passenger seat and waved her hand through the window. I still have something to do, so I won't go in. I looked at the person in the driver's seat and made a look that I understood. Okay, I understand. My aunt hooked her hand. I got closer, and in the next second, I had a brain collapse on my forehead. You'd better figure out your own affairs first. Well, what do I need to do? She laughed. Think for yourself. If you have a problem, remember to call me. Gone. I waved my hand. Goodbye, Auntie. As soon as I got back to my room and put down my things, I picked up the keychain, picked up the bag of souvenirs, and turned around and went downstairs, ran to knock on the door next door. It was Colin's mom who opened it. Brenda is here. Hello, Auntie. Is Colin at home? He's not at home. He'll answer the phone and go out. It sounds like a little girl's voice. I thought he was looking for you, but I guess I'll be back in a while, or you can come in and wait. I waved my hand. No need, Auntie. I'll come back next time. By the way, this is a vacation to the island 2 days ago, and I brought some souvenirs for you and your uncle to try. Thank you, Brenda. I grabbed the keychain and walked out. The doubts in my heart are getting bigger and bigger. Colin has a bunch of guys who play well, but almost no girlfriends. The only people who had contact information to talk to were my friends. The content of the speech is not excessive. Where's Brenda? Let Brenda read the news. I was thinking about getting involved, and without paying attention, I hit the wall of flesh. Before the words of apology were finished, the face that had just flashed in his mind appeared in the field of vision. Colin, you're back. Why are you here? He rubbed his shoulders and took half a step back. That's when I noticed that he was wearing a white shirt. Sneakers on his feet were my favorite limited edition, and he was carrying a paper bag with a pink bow on it. At first glance, it was given by a girl. His gaze finally rested on his well-groomed hairstyle. I couldn't help but ask, Colin, who are you hanging out with tonight? He lowered his eyes and smiled coldly. What? Whom am I going out with? And I have to report to you. So some people go on vacation. Tell me. I couldn't hold back my smile anymore, and my face sank. It's really annoying for others to talk weirdly. Then you didn't send me a message. Oh, so if I don't send it to you, you won't take the initiative to find me, right? You're sick, Colin. Well, I'm sick. It's okay. Let me go. I'm going home. Colin had never spoken to me in such a cold tone. I tilted my head. Silently, he stepped aside. He passed me. The keychain tightened and tightened in the palm of his hand, and the metal frame was embedded in the flesh. The pain hit. The tip of his nose suddenly became sour. I don't want to bother with Colin anymore. The next day, I made an appointment with Damien to see the exhibition. When I arrived at the entrance of the exhibition, 20 minutes had passed since the appointment time. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry I woke up late this morning. Damien waved his hand. It's okay. I've got breakfast for you. Let's make a cushion first. There is no time limit for the exhibition. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. He bought soy milk and sandwiches. I'm going to have little appetite for this, so let's go in first. But I politely took it anyway. Halfway through this, Damien suddenly stopped talking. Brenda, are you in a bad mood? I said, no, really. I thought I was talking too much and annoying you. I shook my head, pulled Colin out, and pulled myself together. No. Maybe I slept late last night. It's okay, you go on. I think you know a lot more about this artist than I do. And after listening to your introduction, I feel very different. After watching the exhibition, it was exactly 11:30, Damien said. There's a delicious teppanyaki restaurant around here. Why don't you try it? I thought for 2 seconds. Okay, then I'll have a treat. Otherwise, I would be too late in the morning to be too worried. Damien smiled softly. It's okay to have a treat, but don't take these little things to heart. Towards the end of lunch, I came back from the bathroom, and Damien's place was empty. And I was about to send a message to ask. A bouquet of bright flowers suddenly appeared in front of me. Damien bent over and said, I just saw a florist nearby, so I picked a few. I was half a beat slower. Why did you send flowers all of a sudden? If there's a reason, I'm going to wish you a happy graduation. I hesitated for a moment, then finally reached out and took the bouquet. Thank you. I didn't prepare anything else, so I substituted a drink for my mind. I raised my glass and touched it with the one in his hand. Happy graduation, too. Damien still laughed. Okay. While waiting for the bus, he suddenly asked, will you go to the teacher appreciation banquet tomorrow night? I nodded. Go. He opened the car door for me. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. 10 minutes later, when I arrived at my destination, I had just pushed the door and got out of the car, just in time to meet Colin, who was about to go out. I subconsciously wanted to hide the flower behind me, but he had already looked at it. Colin raised an eyebrow, a flirtatious look. Yo, go out to see a solo exhibition, and someone will give you flowers. My reflex was instantly stimulated, and I gave him a smile that didn't have much warmth. It's your business. Then, holding the flower in his arms, he walked past him with his head held high. The teacher appreciation banquet is scheduled in the evening. Before leaving, my mother happened to get home from work, and when she saw that I was about to go out alone, she wondered, are you going by yourself? Why didn't Xinglan come to pick you up? I didn't feel good and said, who knows if he's going to go. Mom, I'll go first. As soon as I entered the box, I was pulled by my sisters. I finally saw you, and after graduation, I hung out with Colin every day, and I didn't know how much time to give us. The other friend looked back. Hey, didn't Colin come with you? Yes. The whole world thinks he should be with me. The breath in my heart was getting heavier and heavier. Don't mention him. Bother. The good friend was already surprised. Okay, don't mention it. Anyway, you two reconciled after 2 days. This time is different. I couldn't help but whisper. My friend didn't hear clearly, and was about to ask again, but was interrupted by another friend. Hey, look at what? I bit the straw and turned around, and the gulp stopped in mid-air. Colin is here, and another girl in the class. It's still a girl who has a very bad relationship with me. The two walked in side by side, and the commotion immediately resounded throughout the box. Colin still looked faint, but the girl next to her was so shy that her face was flushed. Some of the boys whistled and screamed louder. Soon, the box door was pushed open again, and the head teacher and a group of subject teachers walked in with a smile. Ouch, that's a big welcome. Colin sat down in the boys' pile, and the girl sat not far from me. Her little sisters immediately surrounded her. What's going on? Candace, you too. Candace lowered her head and said shyly, oops, don't ask. In the midst of the bustle, there was a deathly silence around me. The friend cautiously probed his voice. Well, you two really quarreled. I pulled out the bitten straw and reinserted a new one. No noise. Then how did he come in with Candace? The whole class knows you're at odds with Candace. And now it's okay. The woman's jaw is about to rise to the sky. Another friend said, maybe it's just the door. I didn't see Colin talking to Candace, and sat down next to the class leader. Speaking of which, the relationship between me and Candace is still thanks to Colin. Not long after the class was divided, Colin became a secret in the hearts of many girls, but he doesn't talk much, and except for going to and from school with me, he hardly interacts with girls at other times, so everyone came from me to inquire about him. Candace is a member of the art committee in the class, and has also gained a lot of popularity with her outstanding performance on the school celebration stage. One day, she walked up to me with a pink envelope. Brenda, please give it to Colin for me. She put it down and turned around and ran, and I didn't have time to say anything. I refused. Just as Colin was returning from the teacher's office, I threw the letter on his desk. Candace gave it to you. Colin glanced at the table. Who's Candace? Your new stage name. I glanced at him angrily. Literature and Art Committee, that one sang at the school celebration a few days ago. Colin threw the letter back. Oh, I don't know. With that, Colin threatened me with an unhappy face. Next time you pick up someone else's love letter, I really convinced these sleeping dragons and phoenix chicks, that's what someone wrote to you. In the next second, a book slapped on my head. Then you can't take it, you fool. So he threw the envelope in a drawer and prepared to return it to Candace the next day. As a result, as soon as I entered the classroom the next morning, I saw a large number of people around Candace's place, and when they saw me enter, they glared at me with indignation. Candace was lying on her stomach, her shoulders twitching, crying sadly. One of the girls stood up, pointed at me, and asked loudly, Brenda, what do you mean? I looked confused. What do you mean? Candace asked you to give the letter to Colin. Why did you keep it and throw it in the trash on purpose? If we hadn't found it in the trash can this morning, we wouldn't have known you were such a thoughtful person. I turned my head, and the pink erotic book was indeed lying in the trash. I was about to speak, and there was a rush of strength over my shoulder. I threw it. Colin didn't know when he came, and stood casually next to me. Candace looked up as well, tears on her face. Colin, I know you have a good relationship with Brenda, but you can't reverse black and white to preserve her. Colin let out an "oh." What do you mean by reversing black and white, Candace? You didn't throw the letter. Colin tilted his head. So you know who threw it? Candace, check the surveillance and see who threw it. I give advice. Candace's little sister. How can such a thing be stabbed by the teacher? Then don't open your mouth and throw dirty water on me. I was a little annoyed, so I looked directly at the person. Candace, after school yesterday afternoon, you ran over with the letter and asked me to help you pass it on to Colin, and you ran away after that. I gave it, but he didn't, so I put the letter in a drawer and prepared to return it to you today. As for how the letter ended up in the trash, how it was known that it was a love letter from you to Colin, and whether someone touched my drawer during this time, I need an explanation too. Colin folded his arms and leaned back in my place. Well, I support it, check it out. With tears all over her face, Candace cried and complained, Colin, is my liking so worthless to you? Do you have to do this in favor of Brenda? Colin didn't even give me a look, and looked down at me and asked, now go to the teacher to adjust the monitor. There was a deathly silence in the classroom. The student on duty suddenly raised his hand. I'm sorry, I scanned that letter under your desk. She asked me to sweep it into the trash, and said you threw it away. Then he pointed to the little sister Candace who had just spoken out against me. The other party's face turned pale. Candace looked over in shock, and she pushed the crowd away and ran out. A group of little sisters followed. Since then, Candace and I have been completely out of touch. Even if you encounter it head-on, you don't talk and ignore it. Everyone's circle of friends is even more distinct, eating and toasting and taking pictures. The teacher gave encouragement, and everyone blessed each other. This casual meal in youth ended hastily. After the thank you banquet, some students left first, and some went upstairs to play in the secret room. There were a dozen people left in the box, and someone proposed to play truth or dare. The speed of playing cards was too slow, and the squad leader directly started to spin with a wine bottle. The first one to go to is Damien. He probably drank a lot. His face was a little red, he rubbed his forehead, and he thought he was unlucky. I'm going to take the big adventure. Several of his roommates looked at each other in the air, and one of them gave me a vague look. Then he said, find a girl who is there to confess. Everyone started screaming. Damien looked up, smiled helplessly, and looked slowly in my direction. He said, it's better to talk about this kind of thing in private. The person next to him continued to coax, okay, say her name. You two go out alone. I was on pins and needles, and my eyes couldn't help but drift to the side, and I looked directly at Colin on the other side. He wasn't in high spirits tonight. He didn't talk to anyone much. He was immersed in drinking the whole time, but he couldn't drink his face. He sat there flat, and he didn't seem to have anything to do. But as soon as I saw the look in his eyes, I knew that he had drunk too much. Brenda. Damien suddenly called my name, and there was another scream around me. Can you do me a favor? He sent out an invitation in the name of the game, and I couldn't even refuse it in public, so I had to bite the bullet and get up. Walking to the balcony at the end of the hallway, Damien stopped and reached for a shirt button. I'm sorry, I saved you. I waved my hand to indicate that it was okay, and I didn't know what else to say, so I had to laugh and forget it. We just stood on the balcony and blew the wind. Damien suddenly called my name again. Brenda, there are some things that you may not be able to say today. You study well, you have a good personality, you love to laugh, you are smart and beautiful. As long as you show up, I can't control my afterglow. When you're happy, I'm happy, and when you fail the exam and look depressed, I don't feel like you're feeling good. By the time I found out that this prolonged preoccupation with you was completely uncontrollable, I had already fallen into it. I often think you're a fiery little sun, and I'm a sunflower. There's nothing to say about liking you, it's just an instinct. Faced with such a direct confession for the first time, I felt that my brain instantly became a mess. Can't think, can't react appropriately. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. In the end, I could only blurt out the classic line. I'm sorry. Damien smiled relievedly. It's fine. I already knew your answer. I'm saying this just to put an end to high school. While rejection doesn't sound cool, at least I've been brave in front of someone I like. I scratched my head. Damien, you're actually pretty nice. Just, don't send me a good guy card. It's fine, but I still hope you can be lucky, and the people you like will like you. For a moment, my heart became inexplicably sad. Damien said, "All right, I'm almost sober. Let's go in, you go in first, and I'll blow the wind again." When I returned to the box, there were few people left. My good friend gave me a look, leaned over and whispered in my ear, "Good guy, I underestimate you." I looked at her inexplicably. "What's that?" "Two handsome guys in our class. You can choose one of the two." What are you talking about?" My friend blinked. "Didn't you just have Colin called out? Isn't it for the two of them to PK head on?" I was even more confused. "No." I finished talking to Damien, blew some wind on the balcony, and went downstairs to make a phone call. Besides, why am I calling Colin out if I'm fine? As soon as I realized something was wrong, the box door was pushed open. Damien ran in with a serious look on his face. "Brenda, is Colin afraid of the dark?" I immediately stood up. "What's wrong with Colin?" Damien said that when he came back from the balcony, he was stopped by a girl in the class on the way, saying that there was a person in the secret room upstairs, and they really wanted to play with the notebook, so please come along. So Damien followed. As a result, something went wrong with the props in the secret room, and the boss told them to wait. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, Damien got up to go to the bathroom, only to hear two other girls whispering around the corner, "We're going to drag Damien and have someone trick Colin into the box in the name of Brenda. And the rest of the time is up to Candace," who said it wasn't, but I didn't expect that a big boy like Colin in his 80s was afraid of the dark. Candace doesn't know where the gossip came from. Whatever the hell, if you want me to say. Colin just gets too close to Brenda all day and gets blinded. Candace is worse than Brenda in her studies, so what else is worse than her? When he gets to know more about Candace, he'll know what his real choice should be." Damien finished. "I feel something might happen, so I'll come down and tell you first." I strode forward, uncontrollably impatient. "Now take me to those two girls. It's going to happen when it's too late." As a result, before I went upstairs, I met them who came down in a hurry. Damien pointed. "She brought me up." They discussed. I grabbed the girl closest to me. "Say, where did Candace trick Colin?" The other party refused to admit it. "I don't understand what you say." I strained my hand, and the other person's face gradually ached. I ask again, "Where did Candace trick Colin to?" "I've practiced taekwondo, and if you're willing to sacrifice this hand for Candace's sake, I can do it for you." The other party couldn't hold back and cried. "Upstairs box 302. I shook them off, turned around and ran upstairs. Colin has severe claustrophobia. Not many people know about this. Rushing to 302, the door was locked from the inside. My friends stopped me trying to kick the door. "I'm going to the staff now, don't worry." I slammed the door hard. "Candace, I know you're inside, you open the door now. I don't care about you, but if you insist on not opening the door, you won't be able to take the slightest thing that happens to Colin today." "Candace, do you like him or do you want to kill him?" There was still no movement inside. It's coming, the staff is coming. "Hurry up, open this box door." When the staff looked down for the key, the door suddenly opened from the inside. Candace looked frightened and horrified. "I'm sorry, I don't know." I shoved her away and rushed in. The light in the hallway outside shone sparsely. Colin just curled up in the corner of the couch, her hands on her knees. The whole person was short of breath and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. His eyes were closed, and words were in his mouth. "Brenda, save my..." I knelt on the ground, leaned over, and gently hugged him. "I'm here." "Coin, you look up at me." "It's me, I'm Brenda." It was only when I got close that I could hear how fast his heart was beating. Colin slowly opened his eyes. "Brenda, you're here." My forehead pressed against his. "It's me, I'm coming, don't be afraid, I'm here." When Colin was 5 years old, Uncle Sia and Aunt Sia always had a long-term difference across borders, so he hired a nanny to take him with him. But that babysitter was just bad. When Uncle and Aunt Sia are at home, she takes good care of Colin, but as long as no adult is around, she often abuses Colin and threatens him not to tell anyone. In the worst case, she locked Colin in the attic and didn't turn on the lights or eat. I happened to go to play with Colin and the babysitter hurriedly picked him up from the attic. As a result, Colin had just opened his eyes and called out to me weakly, "Brenda." In the next second, the person fainted. I was so scared that I cried. The babysitter tried to reach out and cover my mouth, but I bit me hard. She wanted to pull Colin again, but I held Colin and didn't let go, and the more I cried, the more fierce I became, until my parents heard the commotion and rushed over. That's when the uncle and aunt learned what happened to Colin at home. Never hired a babysitter again. It's just that Colin's fear of the dark has left a root cause, At night, the lights are on in the rooms he passes, and he must turn them on when he sleeps. Colin's mom quit her job to stay home with him, but Colin is visibly becoming more and more silent. He often sat on his own and did not say a word all day. I didn't know he was sick at the time. I thought he simply didn't like to sleep alone, so I took the little pillow in my arms, ran into his room, put mine next to his, and announced, "Colin, I'll sleep with you from today onwards." When I was younger, I was also afraid to sleep on my own, but my mother was with me, and I gradually became afraid. "Now I'll stay with you, so you won't be afraid." Colin didn't agree or refuse. I took him by the hand and pulled him to lie down, but I closed my eyes and lay back and forth for a long, long time, and finally I couldn't help but open my eyes. "Colin, this light is so bright, I can't sleep." Colin has been sleeping in a very regular position since he was a child, and he said, "Then go back to sleep." I shook my head firmly. "That's not going to work. I'm going to be with you." "Ah," I thought. I pulled the quilt high and covered my eyes. Then he smiled slyly at Colin. "So I can't see the light, and you won't be bad. Let's sleep. Good night." I almost lived at Sia's house during that time. I forced him to play with me every day, even though most of the time he was dumb without saying a word, until one day, when I read him a storybook, he finally couldn't help but speak. "Branda," these 3 words are pronounced as tadpoles, not insects. "Are you stupid? It's so easy to read wrong." My eyes widened. "Wow, Colin, you've said so many words to me." It seems that from that day on, Colin slowly got better. Because I persistently climbed into his bed every day, he gradually learned to sleep and turn off the lights. As I grew up, I had a lot less fear of the dark, but claustrophobia has not completely dissipated. Colin's breathing gradually stabilized. I helped him to his feet. "Let's go. I'll take you home." I stopped as I walked to the door and passed by Candace. "Where did you know about this?" Candace was still crying. "I saw it on his medical form." "I'm sorry. I didn't know his reaction was so serious. I just thought that if he drank too much and was more afraid of the dark, he wouldn't be in a hurry to leave for a while. I just want to have a good conversation with him." I am very dismissive of this kind of self-glorification. In order to achieve your own goals, you are taking advantage of other people's weaknesses. And to put it seriously, you are deliberately killing people. Candace cried even harder. "Branda, is Colin going to hate me for this? Seriously, if it weren't for my hand still holding Colin, I really wouldn't be able to help but call her in the face." "Hate you? I advise you not to appear in front of him for the rest of your life." Damien and a friend went downstairs with me and help Colin to the car. Then he and I went home first. "Thank you for today." No one was there, so I helped Colin to his bedroom, went to the kitchen to stir a glass of honey water, poured some white vinegar, coaxed him to drink, and then washed a towel to wipe his face and hands, and finally cleaned up. After thinking about it, I decided to turn the lamp on. As a result, as soon as he got up, he grabbed his right wrist. "Don't go." It was probably a dream whisper, but his eyes were closed, his grip on my hand was still shaking, and his whole person showed a vulnerability that he had never felt before. I sighed, turned around and grabbed a chair, and sat down at the head of his bed, let his hand hold it, just leaned back in his chair and fell asleep in a daze. When I woke up again, the hard chair was gone, and I was lying on Colin's bed. "Colin," I subconsciously got up and called his name. "Are you awake?" Colin pushed the door in, his face back to normal. "Are you still feeling unwell right now?" He shook his head. "No. It's just that I drank too much and had a little headache." The hanging heart fell to the ground. When I think of the death he drank last night, I can't help but want to curse. "Yes, drink so much, you don't hurt." "Who hurts?" He smiled and nodded. "Yes, yes. My fault. So thank you so much for keeping me watch all night last night." "Verbal thanks." I looked disgusted. He raised an eyebrow. "Or else, forget it. Kowtow to thank you. Get out." Colin laughed angrily and strode over to the head of the bed. "Branda, you see, this is my bed." I lay down in a large font and shouted at him. "What's going on?" Colin suddenly bent over and leaned over to me until the tips of our noses were about to touch. He blinked his deep peach blossom eyes. "No. I just think you're cute." I swallowed and choked on saliva. "Ahem, ahem." He immediately helped me to my feet and carried the water over the bed. "Look at your excitement. Drink some water." I finally stopped coughing, and I realized how wrong our posture was. I'm sitting on the bed, holding a cup and drinking water, and he'll help me hold the cup according to my height. His thumb was pressed against the back of my hand, and the warmth felt to the touch. I shoved him away and tried to climb out of bed. As a result, as soon as my feet hit the ground, the soles of my feet somehow slipped, and my body was weightless, and I fell to the right screaming. In a panic, he subconsciously stretched out his hands and naturally dragged Colin down. The imaginary touch of falling to the ground did not happen. I touched it randomly, and it was still soft. As soon as I opened my eyes, Colin was lying underneath me, in front of a free human flesh pad. He crossed his hands and leaned leisurely behind his head, his peach blossom eyes bent again. "Branda, where are you going?" I immediately climbed up from him with my hands and feet, and I couldn't help but start to heat up and down. "My mom told me to come home for dinner. I'll go first." 2 days later, when I was eating snacks and watching a movie, my aunt suddenly called. "I heard from your mother that you've been at home every day lately. Haven't you made any progress with Colin?" I almost didn't swallow a mouthful of potato chips, and hurriedly said, "Auntie, what are you talking about?" "Oh, looks like there's progress." "Nope, nothing." The aunt hissed, "Hey, the child is older, and he refuses to share his secrets with his aunt." I was a little helpless. "It's really nothing. He hasn't confessed to you yet." One sentence scared me so much that I almost didn't hold my phone steady. "Auntie, what are you talking nonsense? He doesn't like me." The aunt was a little annoyed, and she simply hated the tone of iron and steel. "You said that you have been so smart since you were a child. Why didn't you give your EQ a little bit of EQ? He doesn't like you. He's been waiting for you to go to school and send you home for 10 years. He doesn't like you. He controls you here. He controls you that. When you go out, you still find videos every day. He doesn't like you. Can he almost drown in vinegar for a male classmate? You two are too grinding. If you want me to say, if you like it, talk about it quickly when we're together. Remember to bring him to play with me." The next second, the phone hung up neatly. Immediately afterwards, the WeChat prompt sounded again. Colin's message, "Open the door." My mind was in a state of confusion and I immediately turned off the TV. "I'm not at home." Colin immediately dialed over. As soon as I pressed the button, I heard his laughter. "Branda, what are you shy about?" "Who is shy? If you're not at home, don't look for me." I hung up with a snap. After the movie is over, I turn around and go upstairs, ready to go back to my room for a nap. As soon as I opened the door, I saw a familiar figure sitting on the balcony. "Colin, who allowed you to climb the balcony?" Our 2 rooms were close to each other, and the balcony was just up and down. And although it wasn't far, it was still dangerous to climb with bare hands in the air. As a child, if Colin was locked up for a mistake, he would climb up from the balcony to play with me, until one time, I was so curious that I wanted to try it too. He jumped down with his hands and feet first, spread out his 2 little fat hands, tilted his head and said, "Come down, I'll catch you." I rolled over and rode on the balcony handrail and looked down, only to be frightened by the height of the air. And did not dare to move, tears rolling out. "Colin, I don't dare jump. It's okay, I often flip. I have experience. I can't die if I fall." He also encouraged me, "Be brave, Branda." But before I could muster up the courage, I was caught by 2 mothers who had just returned from work. "Colin, what are you doing?" "Branda, don't move." At the end of the day, I was picked up from the balcony by my mother. Colin was subjected to a violent mixed double. He hasn't visited my balcony since. Unexpectedly, after 10 years, this trick was used by him again. Colin sat in my hanging chair, flipping through the books I had read, looking up lazily. "Didn't you say you're not at home?" I licked my lower lip and stalked my neck and said, "I just came back." "No." He put down the book and let out a casual, "Oh, let's talk." I sat down on a wooden chair next to me, avoiding his gaze and looking at the flowers and plants in the yard. "What do you want to talk about?" Colin tilted his head. "I heard that Damien confessed to you, but you refused. You don't care about the beautiful women. Why did you reject him? What's your business?" Suddenly a figure loomed over me, and Colin walked over at some point, leaning on either side of my chair and bending his head. "I want to know why, when he's not smiling, he looks like he's not approaching." I swallowed subconsciously and shrunk my neck. No intention of falling in love. Colin leaned in closer. "Isn't it because you like me?" I shoved him away and stood up. "You're sick. Who likes you?" Colin leaned his strength against the railing and suddenly smiled. "If you don't like it, you don't like it. What are you blushing for?" I subconsciously reached out to cover my cheek and glanced at him, who blushed. "It's not that you have to be so close to me. It's hot on this balcony. I'm going back. I can't send it slowly." As soon as the words fell, before I could take a step, he blocked my way. "What are you afraid of?" I like you more anyway. His tone was airy, but it made me dizzy. I couldn't take another step. Colin just stood in front of me. I looked up and saw the boy's broad shoulders and reddened earlobes. He said, "Branda, we've known each other for 18 years. Go to school and get out of school together, do homework together, participate in competitions together, travel together, watch fireworks together on New Year's Eve, and say Happy New Year together. We've never missed each other's important life moments, so I never thought that maybe your eyes would be set on someone else. On the day I had dinner with Damien, I heard you talk about your common hobbies, about your favorite artists, about your favorite exhibitions. When you talk about what you like, your eyes are always shining. You probably don't know it yourself, but yours is cute and charming." I saw that familiar look in Damien's eyes, and I've liked you for so long. And I'm pretty sure almost instantly, he likes you too. So after you promised him to go to the show and wouldn't let me go, I started sulking alone. I came back and calmed down for 2 days, thinking that I was too naive to be angry with you. And I was about to look for you, but I saw you going out to play in the circle of friends. But you told me every time you went out, and I was even angrier. Speaking of which, I thought back to the bag with the pink bow that night. Then the day I came back, didn't you go out with the other girls, and carrying gifts from others? Colin chuckled. "It's my cousin, she's back from a trip abroad with her boyfriend, and she asked me to bring the gift to my mom. Also, I have nothing to do with Candace. I just met at the door on the day of the thank you banquet, and we just entered the door together, and I didn't say a word to her. It's because I'm not good enough. Don't get angry with me, okay?" After saying this, his voice softened again. "Branda, my personality is not good. I have been indifferent to people and things since I was a child, but I have never taken your affairs lightly. We're too familiar with each other, and we don't know where to start with this phrase. But I really like you. I know, you've always had your own pace and plan, and I'm not asking you for an answer right now. I'm just going to say, if you want to fall in love, can you be the first to consider me?" I looked at him for a moment, then suddenly bypassed him and walked into the room, stooped down and pull out a box from the bedside cabinet, back in front of him, reach out. He stretched out his right hand, palm facing up. The keychain of that astronomical telescope was returned to its true owner. "I happily went to give you a gift that day. As a result, Auntie said that you went out with other girls and came back with a gift. When we met, we talked in a weird way. The grievances of the expiration date will not dissipate, and as I speak, tears can't help but fall. Colin, you're really annoying." He took me into his arms with one hand, his chin rubbing gently over my head. "I'm sorry, there won't be a next time. I love this keychain, thank you." I whispered a warning to him. "If you lose it, you're done." He laughed, his chest shaking. "What you gave me when I was a child, what didn't you keep in my bedroom?" I snorted. He said, "Of course, I will be more careful with this. After all, it is a token of love from my girlfriend." I whispered a protest. "Shameless, who promised you?" "Okay, then don't agree, I'll keep chasing." At the beginning of September, the freshmen were trained. While resting in the shade of a tree, my roommate suddenly became excited. Look, this year's top science student is the one who walks this way with a bottle of water." The other 2 roommates saw the person and followed the discussion. "He's really a handsome guy." I thought what the group said was a lie, but it's a pity. I heard that the handsome guy is already famous. So handsome, with such a high IQ. Which sister is enjoying my happiness? I didn't speak. I stayed up late the night to read a novel, and I was sleepy yawning next to me. Look, there are girls who have asked for WeChat in the past." Another roommate patted me and gossiped about it. "By the way, Branda, are you in the same high school as the champion? Who's his girlfriend?" "You know what?" I replied casually with my eyes half squinted and drowsy. "Me." The roommates looked at each other a few times and laughed. "Although you are indeed smart and beautiful. I haven't seen you make a few phone calls since you entered school. Where do you look like you're in love?" "That's not even Colin, the dog thing, who wants to pester me to move out when school starts." I was annoyed by him, so I only hung him for a few days. It seems that there is no way to make up for this feeling. I looked up that way. Colin is still stuck in traffic, but it seems that she refused, and the girl looked frustrated. What a cold student. Another roommate who was watching the excitement came and raised an eyebrow at me. "If you can get the champion's WeChat, we will bring you breakfast for a month." My gaze swept over the faces of all 3 of them. "Sure," the 3 nodded. "Do what you say." I got up and patted the grass on my pants. "That's good." The rejected girl was gone, and Colin stood there with one hand in his pocket, just watching me walk towards him, finally willing to ignore me. He hooked his lips and reached out to hand over the water that had been unscrewed on. I took out my phone and pulled up the QR code for receiving money. Handsome guy. Colin raised his eyebrows and smiled and asked, "What are you cosplaying today?" I lowered my voice. "Leave it alone, scan." Colin obediently lowered his eyes and scanned the code. "Turn, wait for me for dinner." When I looked at it, I received $5.20 and was satisfied. "Okay, I'm barely free tonight, turn over your cards." He smiled dismissively. Princess admires her face. Back on the line, the three roommates were staring at me. "You're really hiding, confess and be lenient," I concluded flatly. Since I was a neighbor since I was a child, I was at the same table in high school. And he chased me after the college entrance examination, so I agreed. After saying that, "I don't forget to remind at the end, a month's breakfast, don't forget." My roommate looked at me and said, "Sister, you eat so well even for men. What kind of breakfast do you have?" I, who will take care of these CP people. The words of the tiger and wolf are unacceptable. In the first semester of my senior year, Colin and I both got our qualifications. Because he had already started his own business, so he chose a master's degree. I entered my supervisor's research group ahead of schedule. He and his partners went around pulling in financing to find projects. At the busiest time, we didn't see each other for 10 days and half a month. It wasn't until Christmas Eve, when I had just finished sending a document to my tutor, that I heard a voice at the door. "Brenda, someone is looking for you." I stepped on my stool and tilted my head from my desk. Colin hugged the bouquet of flowers and smiled brightly. I immediately shook off the mouse and ran out. "Why are you here?" "I don't want to work, so I'm going to have a girlfriend and be lazy." "Then you wait for me. I just finished paying DDL too, let's go eat." Colin put his arm around me, smiling with a silky brow. "Didn't you say you wanted to go to a hot spring last week?" "I'm booked." Then lazily give out invitations. "Spend the weekend together, princess." I hugged his waist and buried my head deeper in his arms. "Colin, don't use beautiful men," he lazily After eating a candlelight dinner, I walked around the riverside and enjoyed a complete set of hot spring services. No papers, no academics, no endless work. I felt like my whole being was purified. Looking in the mirror at the figure who was drying my hair, I suddenly called his name. "Colin." He looked up, his hand moving. It's okay, I'll call you." Colin carefully applied the oil to my hair again, and then looked at me seriously. "It's going to be a little early, you can save it for later." I couldn't help but kick him. "You can be a man." He didn't hide or dodge, and said, "Why don't you be a man?" I could see his shamelessness, and immediately reached out to cover his mouth and manually silenced him. "Don't say it." He bent his eyes and kissed my palm. I was so burned that I quickly withdrew my hand. "Colin, are you a pervert?" He turned off the hairdryer and picked me up from the sink without saying a word. "Where is this?" But I just closed my eyes and pretended to be dead. He hugged me to the bed and said, "Brenda, you're still so shy, but I like it." An overwhelming fiery kiss fell. I went limp as a result. He suddenly stopped his movements and asked, "Do you remember what you said in front of the honor roll on the day you went back to school to fill in the volunteers?" My whole body was hot and messy, and my mind couldn't think a little. "I don't remember." Colin was very patient. "It's okay, I remember." I had a gut feeling that he couldn't spit ivory out of his mouth. "You looked at the list of honor rolls and said, 'Colin, why are you above me?'" The next second, he rolled over neatly and straddled me on his waist. The hand gently rubbed my back, and the sound was relentless between movements. "This time, you're on top." After attending the graduation ceremony, taking graduation photos, sorting out all the materials, leaving the dormitory, and returning the keys, this is how the 4 years of college came to an end. Colin pulled the car door open for me. "Take you somewhere?" "I don't know why." "Aren't you going straight home after having a meal?" He smiled mysteriously. "You'll find out later." Until Colin took the elevator upstairs and opened the door. I was still in disbelief. "You bought a house." He just got his first pot of gold before graduation. His career is in full swing. I naturally thought he would use it to better prepare for the next phase of fundraising. Colin smiled and leaned against the door, gesturing inside with an inviting gesture. "Would you like to take a tour?" I took his hand and followed his steps inside. "Just signed the contract. And this location is very close to your school, so you can live on campus. You can live here. I've seen some soft decorations, but the specific style is still up to you. You can choose what you like, and I'll do the rest of the practice." I still haven't reacted. "But isn't your company still in the stage of using money?" Colin looked me seriously in the eye. Brenda, work is important, but being with you is the most important thing in life. I want to have a home with you. My mouth was curled, and my eyes were a little uncontrollably sore. Colin, are you proposing? He laughed. If it was a marriage proposal, would you say yes? As soon as I blinked, tears fell. But you didn't have any rings ready. He suddenly took a step back, got down on one knee, and pulled a velvet box out of his pocket. The box opens, and the diamond ring glows with a gentle light. Brenda, let's get married, shall we? I suddenly remembered the summer of being 17, when the bell rang at recess that year. I woke up from a nap, thinking that the wind was blowing through the long corridor. But when I looked up, I saw Colin reading a book next to me, fanning me incessantly. Awake? He asked softly, pushing the warm water and washed fruit over to him. It turns out that my heart has already missed a lot of beats. Okay. Life is barren, and spring repeats itself, the water is rushing, and the boy I love is as good as ever.